Son Heung-Min, thank you. Son Heung-Min announced that he was leaving Tottenham Hotspur in the early hours of this morning at a press conference in Seoul ahead of our game against Newcastle tomorrow. It will be his last game, most likely, in a Spurs shirt. And I and many other people have made, or I'm going to make a video, a lot of other people have made videos thanking him, giving their thoughts on his Spurs career, paying tribute to someone who is the biggest legend and icon that I've seen at this football club in my life as a Spurs fan, right? Seeing him lift that trophy in Bilbao, nobody deserved it more. Nobody, someone who was committed the biggest chunk of their career to trying to lead this football club, spearhead this football club to glory, alongside Harry Kane, one of his best mates in football, his best teammate, the guy whom alongside he created the most deadly partnership in Premier League history. But one of them left and one of them stayed. Despite all of the chaos, the managerial search, Kane wanting to leave, everything in limbo, everything up in the air, nothing certain. One of them stayed and signed a contract. And I don't want to make this video to dunk on Harry Kane. I made a joke earlier on Twitter saying that Harry Kane would have scored that 1-on-1 against Man City. And I am joking. And this isn't what I'm doing here, but that's important that he stuck around. And you can't begrudge Kane for leaving. You can't. He gave everything to this club, right? As well as Son. But Son stayed when things got difficult. Ange Postecoglou era comes around, he becomes the captain of the football club. And 2 years later, he's lifting that Europa League trophy. I've got a picture, actually. I've got Sam. I was fortunate enough for Sam Cornish to send me one of his Everywhere We Go photo albums from last season. And I was just looking through it just before I started recording this video. And I'm so lucky that, one, I was there in Bilbao to see the moment that Sonny lifted that trophy, see the tears in Sonny's eyes and see what it meant to him before he lifted that trophy at full time. And then I was lucky enough, as we all were, season ticket holders at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, to see him bring it back and lift it. And I hope we get to see him one more time. I hope this deal to LAFC, which I think is it's a really cool move for him, I think. And it's the right move at this stage of his career. And I think it's the right thing to do. I think Sonny, as a squad player, still could have offered us something next season, but I do think that it was probably the right time to move on from him. A new era, a fresh start, a new manager, a new captain now, and probably Cuti Romero as well. And I would have not have begrudged Sonny staying around whatsoever, right? I still think he could have offered us something as a squad option, but I think it's clear that obviously he's starting to decline a little bit now. And I still think that he deserves to go out on his terms, and he made the decision to leave the football club. So, he is doing it in his way. But I really hope we get to see him one more time before he goes. That Burnley game, I hope he's not gone by that point. Or obviously, I don't really know what's going on with the MLS season at the moment. I don't know where we are. If someone could let me know in the comments, that'd be great. But I just hope we get to see him one more time. I woke up this morning. My girlfriend actually woke me up. I woke up at 9. I'd stayed up late last night recording some bits. And I woke up at 9 and my girlfriend was like, Son's left. She saw one of my mates post it on his Instagram story at 6 in the morning. I was like, what? I was like, and then it doesn't really compute when you're first opening your eyes that, oh yeah, they're in Korea and maybe you would have done a press conference. So I looked at my phone. I was like, oh wow. And I knew it was coming. I've said to you guys for a while that I think Son is leaving. I think it'll be his last year. I thought that before the Europa League final. But it's still sad. It's a sad day. Seeing him emotional in that press conference was sad. He's one of us. He's always been one of us, right? I posted a TikTok this morning about the kind of one of the biggest sliding doors moments in Spurs' recent history. And Spurs, Son's been involved in a few of them. If you think about that miss against Man City, and then how the ripple effect of that meant that, one, Arsenal didn't win the league, and then two, we were in the Europa League and Sonny got to lift the trophy and bow out like that. And how iconic is that photo as well of him bowing? I love that photo so much at the Europa League final with the Korean flag draped around his waist and just bowing to the Spurs fans. We should be bowing to him. He's an absolute legend who's done so much for us. But yeah, I made a video this morning about the David Ornstein tweet. I think Richard Cracknell tweeted it, where it was like Spurs are set to end their pursuit of Saido Berahino. This was back in 2015. And look set to move forward on a deal for Korean forward Heung-Min Son. And you think about how that was met at the time. Oh, we're only doing this to kind of increase the marketing and the fan base in Korea and all this kind of stuff. And obviously, Sonny didn't have the best first season at Spurs. Obviously, his debut, I think, was against Sunderland, wasn't it, in that purple kit? Then I remember he played against Crystal Palace, his home debut, and scored that goal. And I thought it was all going to take off from there. He scored a couple of goals against Karabag. I think I remember being there for that in the Europa League. Maybe that was before the Palace game. I can't actually remember. And he looked sharp in those first few games, but for whatever reason, it just didn't click for him in that first season. Adjusting a kid, he was, 23 when he joined Spurs? Couldn't speak a word of English. Took him a while to settle in. He wanted to leave by the time the summer came around. I think Poch convinced him to stay. He wanted to go back to Germany. I think, was it Wolfsburg? They were interested in him. I can't remember. But Poch convinced him to stay. And I remember the season got off to... We drew with Everton on the first game of the season. We played Palace after that and won. And then we played Stoke, wasn't it? I think. And we won 4-0. And Sonny scored a brace. 2 brilliant finishes. One first time on his left foot from a cross, and one he bent in the top corner. And it was like, this could be the start of something. And then I remember Kane got injured, didn't he? Early in that season. And then we went away to Middlesbrough. And Sonny scored a brace again. And it was like, okay, this is sort of starting to happen. He looked more confident. He looked really sharp, looked really happy. And what he did so well for such a long time, like with Kane's injury record, despite the amazing partnership that he forged with him, the amount of times that he'd come in for him as well and deliver while Kane was out of the team. But the partnership that they forged, we were so lucky to see them play together. Like I said, I don't want to make this video about like dunking on Harry Kane because he decided to leave and Son decided to stay, but that does matter when it comes to Son's legacy. That makes him more of a hero and more of an icon than Harry Kane, in my opinion. And people might feel differently about that. Kane's a kid that come through the academy and achieved amazing things with Spurs, but Son was so determined to do something, to lift the trophy, to make it all worth it. And Sonny would have been a legend of this football club anyway, but that trophy lift in Bilbao, those final few seconds where he just falls to his knees with Rodrigo Bentancur, and they just grab each other and Sonny's in tears straight away, and it's like, it was all worth it. It was we've just been so lucky to see him, and the fact that in his last season that was the way that he bowed out, despite how bad the season was, despite maybe how he wasn't used effectively by Ange at times, but still managed to get 11 goals and 11 assists and contribute, despite the fact that his performances weren't up to the standard that we saw a few years before, but he was declining. It was normal. And even in his worst seasons, he'd still contribute. Like the insane consistency of the guy. Like, I'll get some of his numbers up now. He's just incredible. First season, 8 goals, 6 assists. Second season, 21 goals, 7 assists. Third season, the first full season at Wembley, 18 goals, 11 assists. Fourth season, 20 goals, 9 assists. Season after that, 18 goals, 11 assists. Season after that, 22 and 15, 24 and 8, 14 and 6 in 22-23, which was one of his worst seasons, I think. Really, well, one of his worst statistically, but also just didn't look himself. He had that injury, didn't he, against Marseille, the facial injury. I remember being at the game against, was it Leeds or was it Aston Villa? I can't remember, at home, where he just threw the mask off and he was like, this is just holding me back, it felt like almost. First season under Ange, 17 goals and 10 assists, and then last season, 11 goals and 11 assists. So to contribute double-digit goals and assists pretty much every single season, just nuts. Absolutely nuts longevity and consistency. And make no mistake, the guy's a Premier League icon. as well. One of the best foreign players to ever play in this league. One of the best value for money signings when you think about, what was it? I know obviously inflation nowadays and whatever, but what do we pick him up for? About 23 million? Something like that, I think it was. It's just an amazing guy. I remember just being at the parade and being stood in front of that stage. And when he grabbed the mic and he said, "I fucking love you. You fucking deserve this," to the fans. It was real, it was raw, it was honest, it was emotional, it showed how much he cared. And he knew who he was doing it for. He was doing it for us, and he always felt like one of us. He went from like almost a player that you thought could be, you look back on him on like cult hero status kind of thing, really decent player in the first few years of his career. Obviously, he kept getting better and better and better. And we all loved him because he's such a smiley, happy guy and scored some amazing goals. But by the end of it, he could go down as one of Tottenham's biggest ever legends. And he will do. He 100% will do, and he should do. And I think he should be immortalised with a statue or something, along with Bill Nick as well. It is really hard to put into like coherent words what he means to us and what he's done. But I just really hope we get to see him one more time. I think he's actually quite like, there will be so many people that will say, about, the Korean fans and what's all going to happen with that. It's just ridiculous. Like these fans, look at the devotion that they give to this football club in their own country or when they do decide to come over here. We've gained a like quite loyal, hardcore fan base from some of these people. It's just amazing. And I think it's an amazing moment for him, really, that he gets to bow out in front of those fans over in Seoul tomorrow against Newcastle. But I want to see him back. I want to see him back soon so we can give him a proper send-off. The greatest Tottenham Hotspur player of the modern era, an icon. It felt like he was a fan on the pitch. He always gave everything and it meant so much. And I think one of my favourite Son memories, something that stick out. He scored some amazing goals. And let me know what your favourite goal is and favourite moment is in the comments, because I think there's a few different, he scored some amazing goals. Like, technical quality, like Arsenal at home in COVID, Brighton for his 100th Premier League goal, the goal at Wembley, against West Ham, the Puskas winning goal against Burnley, which I was in the South Stand for that game. That was where my old season ticket was before I moved. And it was almost like we were just running towards you. It's just like unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. So many other amazing goals. But I think one of my favourite moments was the Man City Champions League quarter-final at home, where he pointed down the camera. What did he do? What did he say? It was Guardiola called him the Harry Kane team. It was like, "You know who I am." I can't remember exactly what he said. That goal, the two goals away at the Etihad. I think my favourite Sonny moment, one of my favourite Sonny moments that always sticks out to me and has jumped out to me this morning when I've been thinking about it, was being at the Emirates a couple of seasons ago, where Sonny played his first North London derby as captain away at the Emirates. We had that belief of the initial burst of the Ange era, the initial confidence from that. And we thought we could go and get a result against these lot. Sonny scored a brace. The first goal was an amazing finish. And the second one, obviously, we nick it high up and he scores in front of that away end. Being in that away end, seeing him run round, giving it like that to the Arsenal fans, then running round in front of us, him pointing to the badge. And it was like, yeah, you've arrived as captain. Like, to do that in a North London derby, that was really special. Sorry, my SD card. I've been rambling on for too long about Sonny. I just had to delete something quickly. To see him do that, like, it summed up the excitement I think we had about the initial, obviously, like Ange era. But for him to do that as captain in their backyard and put on a performance like that, score 2 goals and give it to the Arsenal fans, he knew what it meant. He knew what those games meant. He always delivered in those games. 173 goals, I think, was it for Spurs? In 10 years, 454 games, 173 goals. Is that just league? Just how many assists? I mean, his goal catalogue as well has got to be one of the best ever in Premier League history. Right? It has to be. Sonny Heung-Min has played, there's a few stats here. Sonny Heung-Min has played more matches, scored more goals, and provided more assists than any other Asian player in the Premier League. 333 games, 127 goals, 71 assists. Individual honours have followed the electric number 7 throughout this time in England, including 1 Golden Boot, 4 Player of the Months, Goal of the Season, the Puskas Award, the Burnley one. He is a legend of this football club, man. I've just seen a tweet from Flav, which I think sums it up really well. 2 things make Sonny a genuine legend. Obviously, lifting the Europa League, but for me, most important was signing that contract when Kane wanted out. It's rare that a player in the modern era who could have gone anywhere demonstrated loyalty like that. To the degree you know he would always be fully Spurs, without question. And he is fully Spurs. And he will always be fully Spurs. The greatest player, the biggest icon of our modern era. I love you, Sonny. Thank you for everything. We will be forever indebted to you for your hard work and desire to get Spurs over the line and do what so many others couldn't and lift that trophy. What a privilege to be there to witness it, privilege to be there to witness all of your career. What a guy. What a guy, what a player, what a man, what a captain, what a finisher. Everything. Make sure to like and subscribe. Emotional day, a sad day, but an amazing scroll on Twitter today just to look through the tributes and look through the goals and the goal catalogue. Amazing. Love you, Sonny. All the best. Up the Spurs.